they eat. It's crazy.
But see, that's the point of meeting people where they are, because if you know that that's something that's big to that group, as you're dealing with that group, you know, hey, if I can reach them here and we can have a commonality, then that becomes a way for us to bridge that gap and start doing the next thing.
Start coming together.
Because that's the whole thing, is you got to build rapport. Rapport building is huge.
I love learning new stuff and like seeing new cultures and like doing new things. I love it.
Crazy as this sounds, if the police build rapport in your neighborhood because you realize that all the police officers are people you grew up with or the parents of people you grew up with, you have a different relationship with them versus other people. So if I know that these 4 police officers all go to this church, and these 3 police officers all go to this church, and these 4 all go to this churches in my neighborhood, and 3 of those, 11 officers happen to be family members or people that I know personally, that now becomes a different feeling when it comes to the police. So even if one of them is an a-hole out of the 11, but I have really good relationships with the other 10.
That's how I feel about police officers. Like, I know a lot of people hate the cops, but
Yeah, me too.
most of my family has been in law enforcement or is currently in law enforcement, so I have just a different take. A lot of people think that cops are out to get them or, you know what I mean, set them up and,
I'm the total opposite.
crazy stuff, and I'm just like,
It depends, because they're,
I mean, I guess there are times where cops are dirty and they do
Yeah,
set people
there's
up,
a bad
and,
egg in everyone.
things happen like that,
but the bad egg makes it bad for the good ones.
yeah.
And like my sister is an officer, but my sister has also said she doesn't feel safe around a lot of officers.
Yeah.
Because something that you have to remember, regardless of the field you in, silence equals acceptance. You can't say you're one of the good ones if you've never addressed what the bad ones are doing.
Right, yeah.
Oh, I'm a good YC. I do my job. I do what I'm supposed to do.
But if you're letting them be aggressive with kids.
If you're letting them
Yeah.
beat kids up in the bathroom,
Mhm.
if you're letting them have Fight Club, if you're letting them abuse a kid,
You're not.
you're not a good one. Every child should be treated the way you would want your loved one treated if they were locked up.
That's something that I absolutely take into account, with restraints and stuff. Like, you don't know what these kids have been through. You don't know what kind of, upbringing they've had or where they come from. And I try, to do restraints as a last resort. If their life is in danger or my life is in danger. Just because, to me, I just wouldn't want random people just wrapping me up
Yeah.
just because I have a smart mouth or because I, pushed through them or something like that. I've seen people just be, way aggressive with restraints, and
Well,
everyone has different opinions on restraints. And
the
how-
push through part becomes questionable because what you allow them to do sets the baseline.
Yeah, I know. I absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
So if you're letting them put their hands on you, next time they're going to be more aggressive when they put their hands on you.
And I think that you guys just have a better program in place, and just the kids already have better expectations, more expectations here than they ever did at Kingston Academy. So I think that just having, that as a baseline to start, just having some kind of order and control is going to make things tremendously better.
Every time you come on the dorm, you should give your expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that the kids already know that they should be able to recite your expectations.
I was already thinking about that over the weekend. I'm new, so the kids aren't going to know what I expect. And, when I first work a dorm like that, and you really should do it every time, just to, repetition is key with kids. But, I was just thinking, I'm going to introduce myself and just let them know what I expect of them. And,
They all know that I'm going to address them using potty language,
yeah, that's what I cannot stand.
and I'm going to address them bullying people. Keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched Dorm 1 yesterday. We were outside the group, and Pierre laid down on the sidewalk, and Bailey stood over him, straddled him, which one was inappropriate. And he like did like this if he had a gun. And I was like, excuse me, that's very inappropriate. I said, I think you owe him an apology. And he like stepped back and he, you know, apologized to Peter. But I gotta watch for stuff like that.
And you will find out that some of these kids have trauma in their past and they get off on being touched by staff.
Mm-hmm.
To the point I had to ask one of the staff members the other night, I said, you do understand that if you restrain so-and-so, they're probably going to end up going in their room and relieving themselves afterwards before they go to bed. And they're going to be thinking about how you roughed them up. Because if you haven't noticed, he's trying to get touched. He creates situations to get touched.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids, not a lot, but there are kids that are definitely like, just go ahead, put me in restraint. If I don't put me in restraint, I'm gonna flip my desk. I'm gonna, you know, jump off the roof.
But then they start getting selective because they know who's not going to.
Yeah.
Who's not gonna put up with their shit or call them on their bullshit, right?
Yeah, and if they do get touched, they don't want to get touched by that person.
Yeah, it's not who they want to touch them.
I had a youth that you could set your calendar to it. I already knew the 26th, the 27th, or the 28th of every month, this kid was going to get touched.
Yeah.
I had him in a program for over a year. And it took the first 11 months to finally get him out of that cycle. But you just knew. Like the first 3 months, I was like, oh, whatever. It just happens. It's something random. And then I realized when I looked at the pattern, he had 3 incidents. All 3 happened right here in this same little area every month.
Did they ever figure out like what was making him do it on that certain time?
Yeah, so I ended up making a joke out of it towards it once I was finally able to break it with him. I was like, do you really need the rough touch of a man early in the morning to get your day right? And so that took it from being, I'm tough to, yo, that's inappropriate. I don't want to think about it like that.
Yeah. Don't say it like that. You made it sound terrible.
I did make it sound terrible.
I know.
I mean, for lack of a better way of saying it, I made it sound homoerotic.
Yeah.
And
that brought it up in his mind. I'm like, oh, that is messed up. Like,
right. And so then I had used the line a couple times. So then you start hearing staff and kids say it. And so, you know, one of the other kids ends up saying to another kid, do you really need the rough touch of a man to get your day going? Because if you do, that's nasty.
and that got him out of it. Like eventually.
It wasn't even him. It started being other kids. And so it became, so the kids already knew that I can be very snarky. And so the other kids realized that. So, you know, they would say something, and I'd give them a very snarky remark back. And it was like, man, that ain't nice. You ain't got to say it like that. So how you want me to say it?
Yeah. You want me to say it like you wanted me to say it? Like this?
No, so I said, so tell me how you want to say it. How are you going to receive it so that we don't have to keep going through this? And so the kid said whatever he was going to say. I said, all right, now say that to yourself again. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
Until you get tired of it.
Because kids will try to say and do stuff to get a reaction, and when you don't respond the way they want to, it pisses them off.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many of you have been in a long-term relationship?
And you say things just to piss them off, yeah.
Yeah, and you say stuff to get a response,
Yeah.
and then you get mad when they don't respond the way you want to.
Yeah, that's true. Kids are the same way.
Like there was a YouTube video where this girl was trying to prank her boyfriend and said that, you know, they were having hard times, so she was going to go become a stripper. And so the guy saw the camera, so his response was, well, we do have a lot of bills. And you know, as long as you're not, as long as you're not out doing extras and doing this and doing that, it's just a job.
That's so funny. Oh, shit.
And she got upset because she was like, what do you mean you don't have a problem with people going to see my body and dudes doing this and people doing that? And he was like, well, you're the one who brought it up. I just agreed with you.
Yeah. She wanted him to be like, no, my wife ain't about to go.
She wanted a response, and she got a response. It just wasn't the response that she wanted.
That's funny. the way, the pranks, the guys and their girlfriends and boyfriends doing pranks on each other. I watch those all the time. Those are funny.
I don't think they're funny. I think they're a setup for domestic violence.
It is. It is.
And I think that we have such a bad culture that we create strife because we are a miserable people in general.
Yeah.
And we want everybody else to be just as miserable as we are. We shouldn't find joy in somebody else's,
Hurt.
and we do. Like, I think there's a difference between you have two adults who agreed to go engage in a boxing match. It's their job, it's their livelihood, it's how they take care of their family. It is an informed decision versus I'm mad because my life is crap. So I'm going to go destroy somebody else's life and then I'm going to try to make a buck off of it.
Yeah, that's messed up.
But we watch those train wrecks. We enjoy watching Real Housewives. We enjoy watching Love and Hip Hop. We enjoy watching whatever the cool reality bad TV show is now.
I like Basketball Wives. I don't watch the Real Housewives, but Basketball Wives was good.
I'm into vampires.
Huh?
I'm into vampires. Watching all these kind of vampire shows here.
My
Like
son watches those.
Vampire Diaries.
My daughter watches zombies. She likes the Walking Dead and stuff.
But like I said, people cheer for people's misery. Like, oh my God, Negus has the bat, so I hope that he bashes so-and-so's head in.
Yeah, hell no.
Huh?
I said, oh hell no, I don't know. That's not cool.
But that's what you see on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And it's like somebody made the statement that really reframes it for what it is. Somebody saying, I can't wait for the zombie apocalypse is really telling you
Can't wait to kill people.
they can't wait to indiscriminately kill people and not get in trouble for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. If you that movie, what's it called?
Purge.
Purge. Yeah.
Those shows are.
Yeah. That the first one was crazy. Like the other ones, I just wasn't like fond about. But the first one, like, that really made you think, like, what if that did happen one day? Like, that's messed up. Like, it would be okay for you to hurt somebody, like, just anybody, and people were like paying to get to hurt, kill somebody. Like, what the hell is the world going to do?
But people find that but that shows you the level of depravity that people have because in their minds, this is acceptable. So we have to think about, and part of why I'm talking about this with Handle with Care is because this is the attitudes that the kids and the staff come in with. If you're here to ragdoll a 110, 120, 130 pound kid, this is not the job for you. That is how you get sent to prison. DCS is not playing when it comes to abuse.
They shouldn't.
Nobody should be happy with abuse. Because if you were abused or you know somebody that was abused and you disagreed with it, why would you want that done to somebody else?
Even if you wasn't, like, it would be messed up for you to think that it's okay and it's cool to hurt somebody else. Something's wrong with you if you think that it's okay to hurt somebody.
What's going on, Master Control?
Hey, Mr. Wood, who do we have available? The ladies here to do the haircut.
All right, I will walk her back and then I will just start swapping the kids out. I'll see how long she's saying for each head.